Hello, Cosmic Soul family. Welcome to Livzenastrology. Sorry, the retrograde. Making sure I'm streaming here. Oh, I'm streaming on Instagram. Okay, that's actually working this time. Yay! I think it is. Make sure. I think it is. I'm going to trust. It says it's streaming, so I'm going to trust this. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ella Ivy, and I'm the founder and creator of Lives in Astrology. And today we're going to be talking some cosmology. We're going to be looking at the new moon in Leo. We're also going to be cross-referencing it to the Mayan calendar system and what's called the day at a time. So I just got a brand new camera. I don't know, a camera and a microphone. So for those that are live here, if you just let me know you can hear me okay. I need to make sure that I am on the. There we go. I'm on the Solar Cast here. See if that. I was on the MacBook, but see if that changes frequency a little bit. I'm trying to come in clear. So this is what these retrogrades are about right now. We've got Mercury retrograde in Leo, and we've got this new moon in Leo approaching on July 24th at 3:11 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you're, I'm here in the northern hemisphere of the United States, and so I've been called to get new equipment, right? Because as I'm starting to expand and do more videos, I'm realizing that I need to the sound quality and the visuals are super important, especially if you're a creator, right? Because as what I'm learning is that people really want to see you and they really want to hear you. And so this retrograde, because we've got several retrogrades happening, Saturn's retrograde, Neptune's retrograde in Aries, and it's trining this new moon in Leo frequency. So, when we look at the new moons, we look at the symbology of the sign it's transiting through. So let's look at the symbology of Leo. What does the lion represent? Well, in the cosmology of astrology, it represents the lion, right? It represents pride, ego. It represents, I'm thinking, to authority, where we stand up, where we are sovereigns. And it's ruled or it's connected to the sun, right? Our cosmic sun, which is interesting because I love studying etymology and language. And when I was getting downloaded, or uploaded, however you want to look at it, about these frequencies, and we're going to screen share here in a few minutes, and we're going to look at the transits themselves and look at the exact point on this 24th of when this new moon is happening, at 2 degrees 8 minutes, by the way. And then it's also going to be the day before. I also study the Mayan calendar system per the Toltecs. And if you want to get more deeper into that wisdom, there's a great app called 1320 Sync that goes really into depth about the cosmology of the Mayans. And so on July 25th, that's known as the day out of time, right? Where everything is like a reset for the cosmological clock for the Mayans, because they follow a 13 moon system. And so it's a little bit of a different measuring system on how they measure time. And for those of us who can remember 2012, when a lot of the cosmology was talking about, we're getting out of time, that we're going into no time. And so that doesn't necessarily mean what we thought it meant. It meant maybe the configuration of time. Because those of you, again, who follow this channel, we come from a bit of a metaphysical bent when we're looking at the cosmology. And I like to look at different cultures and different sects of belief systems throughout the world, because there's truth interwoven into every belief, philosophy, religion, whatever, wherever you come from. I really honor Joseph Campbell and his study of the hero's journey and how he reflects that everything really does follow a system, especially when we come from consciousness, as we're coming to, how we become human. It's through our stories. It's through the stories we tell. So even if you follow astrology, guys, it's just a story. It's a story that if you resonate with astrology, whether you follow Vedic astrology or shamanistic astrology, evolutionary, there's so many different ways, peripheries to look at the cosmology, Mayan astrology. But I like to look at all of it, right? Because I think and I feel that there's truth interwoven in this golden thread through all the stories. And they're all telling us about something about us, about our own inner constructs, our own psycho-spiritual nature, right? So there's truth to be found everywhere if you know how to look and you know how to feel your way through it. So in my meditation practices, my guides, my inner guidance system, and when I say guides, I talk about my 12 counselors, which are my zodiacal signs. Those are like my disciples, right? My disciplinarians, the voices of reason that come in either through the periphery of Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, all the way through the zodiacal wheel, right? They're all aspects of self. Because if you follow Livzenastrology, we come from the maxim that all is self. So when I look at the symbology of astrology and these, the disciples of 12, there's so many correspondences. Jesus and his 12 disciples, right? The 12 months of the year. There's just 12 is interwoven systematically through all major constructs in this reality. Why? Because 12 is the periphery of how this particular vehicle, which is the human body, is constructed, right? And so, and this is again just from my own study, from my own doing the deep dive, speaking to my own inner counselors, which is the Council of 12, right? The disciples of 12, which are my zodiacal aspects, which all have a frequency or a voice, if you will, that are constantly in conversation with this vehicle. Again, my brain is just a radio receiver. And if you study any of Dr. Joe Dispenza's stuff or any Greg Braden, they talk about how the brain is a receiver. And so we're receiving these frequencies, these bandwidths of energy, if you will. But it's not outside of us, as from what I've seen. Some of it is, but most of it's internal. Most of it's an internal frequency structure that is being regulated by these 12 councils, right? These 12 disciples of self. And so, with this new moon frequency of Leo, it's the disciple of Leo that is speaking loudly. And so, how does Leo speak? Leo speaks loud with authority. It likes to be seen. If you want to look at the cosmology, go and study the behaviors of a lion, right? The animal nature. It's ruled astrologically in Western astrology by the sun, right? And so each per sun, each of us has an internal sun or a solar plexus energy, which is a spinning wheel of light in our midsection that's attached to our central sun, which, from what I understand, is connected to the Sirius B binary star system. Okay. So it's our galactic central sun. That also has to do and align with Sagittarius, which is also fire, which is our galactic center, right? So whatever technology the sun is, which to me is still deeply ineffable about what the technology of sun really is, the technology of the moon really is. But again, interweaving my own gnosis and my own story, studying astrology, studying different aspects of cosmology, I'm realizing that each of us has a central sun within us, and it's connected to our hearts. Because astrologically, the Leo is ruled by the fifth house, which rules the heart of the child, and it's ruled by the part of the body that's the heart, right? So it's the heart of the child energy, and that's what wants to be seen. That's the new seed point. When there's ever a new moon, that means something new wants to be created. It's a new seed that's already within you. Each per sun, again, Leo's ruled by the sun. Each per sun has this new seed point that wants to be nurtured and created. Again, nurturing, I'm thinking also of Jupiter and Cancer. And that configuration is going to be going on until June of next year. So we have this whole now 11-month cycle to really learn to nurture ourselves. What part of us? What are we nurturing? Our inner child, our inner creativity, our passions, what ignites us, the need to be seen, to show. It's like the sun, right? The sun doesn't it doesn't shy away or say, oh, should I shine today? No, it just shines, right? And if you watch children play, they don't care about, who's seeing what. I mean, some children are shy, but most, when they're in their playful nature and playful mode, they're just being themselves, right? And not really worrying about what the other is thinking. And we have this opposition energy right now because there's so many planets in retrograde. We've got Mercury retrograde, Saturn and Neptune in Aries retrograde. We've got Pluto, which is opposing exact this new moon energy at retrograde. And some astrologers, they talk about opposition energy as being opposing forces, but I look at them as opportunities because, again, it's not either or, it's and more. And again, when you study the cosmology, what my inner counselors have told me, my zodiacal, counselor system of 12 have shown me that really oppositions are just where we meet in the middle of where the opposing energy is and where we've got to meet in the middle to balance, to harmonize perhaps the disagreeable aspects of us. I don't no longer like to use the language of good or bad or right or wrong. I'm really learning to trust in the language of neutrality and using neutral language more and more and more to neutralize some of these polarized frequencies that we're all going really witnessing right now, especially since Uranus is ingressed into Gemini, which is all about polarity and about the two, the us or them, which is really you, right? It's the mirroring effect. It's you watching you play itself out, and either the agreeable or the disagreeable aspects. Again, if you come from that oneness or unity consciousness vibration, then that's perhaps a periphery that you can witness because it's all connected. And again, studying the hero's journey and Joseph Campbell and really reading into how we all go through this hero's journey, this process of becoming the next human, the next evolved human consciousness, state of humanity. So Leo, the sign in Leo, is asking us in our next evolutionary state right now, coming up on the 24th, and then going into the day out of time Mayan calendar system, which is on July 25th, right? So we see this current, this rhythm, this pattern that is approaching cosmologically that's asking us to step into our personal power, step into our authority, be the heart of the child, come from that creative space that feels good to create, that feels good in the body, that's okay to be seen. And again, what you love to do, you can give to the other. This is opposing Pluto and Aquarius, because Aquarius is about groups, organizations, how you be your authentic self. And even look at the word authentic, right? It's got author, authority, right? So when you're in your inner authority, when you're in your inner power, that's when you're in your authenticity, your inner, again, power, right? Your person, your solar plexus is turned on literally by what you want to create. And what you want to create is inspired by what the other needs, right? Because we are here to be of service, not only service to self, but service to others. How can we use our creative gifts, life force energy, and be of service to the other and really share what comes from our hearts, right? So this is the invitation. But there are some rectifications, some ways to look at the patterns of energy, and this is what this channel is about, is just helping us to navigate when there's opposing forces. Can you perceive it as, how is this working for me? That the opposition energy is probably just something more that I need because I'm out of balance, right? I'm in my disagreeable state. Again, I'm really reframing from good or bad or right or wrong. I'm really navigating towards more of an energy of neutrality. And so I always like to ask, even when I'm finding myself triggered, because again, these opposing forces, these retrogrades, are making you to go inward. Think about the base root of retro, right? Anytime you use it's redo, restructure, reorganize, evaluate, right? And so where are we doing doing the retrogrades? We're doing it with Saturn, which is our structure, with Neptune, which is our spirituality, with Pluto, which is our power, and with Mercury, which is our mind right now, how we're thinking about these things. And because the mind is in the frequency of Leo, it's about, I want to think about my creations, what my purpose is, how I'm here to express myself. And if you've ever had a disagreeable, let's say, aspect of within your own psyche, within your own counselors that have disagreed about how to share that, and first of all, where to share it, Where do you want to share these new creations? I would invite you to check out your birth chart. And again, you can reach out to me, Livzenastrology, and I would love to share with you where this new moon placement is. You want to look to see where Leo is in your chart, because that's where this new seed point is coming through, this new persona, if you will, that wants to be emitted through you. Because again, time spelled backwards is emit. And if we're going out of the day of time, right, we're going into no time, then the frequency that you're emitting is no longer the frequency of the past. Remember, the moon rules the past, and the sun is would be the now, right? And combined together, that's what's going to create your future. So pulling from the past, Leo, what really emboldens you? What empowers you? What have you always wanted to do and really be creative with? Have you always wanted to be an actor, right? Have you always wanted to be seen, but you were shy, or you thought, I don't want to be an ego, I don't want to, whatever story you've been telling yourself, again, Mercury, perhaps it's time to rethink and restructure and reorganize and redo those thought form patterns, because that's not allowing you to be your true self in your own authentic authority. And so this is the permission that all of us are asking for, because your powers and your particular gift is needed. Opposition energy, Aquarius, by the collective, right? We need you to step into your authority and your power, because a lot of us here in this realm, we've been giving our power and authority to external structures, like the governing structures, right? Government. It governs the mind. So we've given authority, right? Our own personal power, because where we were in evolutionary consciousness, just think of like a child, right? That we were children. And so we needed the authority figures, which were our parents, to show us how things are done, right? To regulate us, to discipline us. But now with Saturn and Aries, and again, we've never seen this before, especially exactly conjunct Neptune. And we're going to see that exact happening next year of February. So we have this time period where we're being invited to step into our own personal power and our own personal authority, and to learn not to externalize our power anymore, to take our power back, to learn how to handle our frequency, basically our personal power, our will, our solar plexus, right? So and it's a maturation process, guys. It's like learning to walk. And so with that, you need to learn to be patient with yourself as you're learning to create and learning to be in your own authority. And when you find yourself in your disagreeable nature, in conflict or at odds with others, I call it the stop, drop, and roll. Stop what you're doing or thinking, drop into your heart, Leo, roll into the next breath. This would also be Gemini, because Gemini rules the lungs, and Uranus is going into the higher mind. And again, I've been listening to Becoming Supernatural, the audiobooks, as I've been really integrating these energies by Joe Dispenza. And I've also been inspired to use my own creative energy, right? Because I know that I need to learn to manage my mind. The next 7-year process of Uranus and Gemini, it's all about the mind. The last 7 years was about the body, right? Because Uranus likes change, it likes fast. Think of lightning bolts, right? But in the body, fixed Earth Taurus, it had to change stagnant energies and move things that were almost immovable within the body, and really connecting you, because Uranus rules higher mind, connecting that we are the body. To be spiritual means to be in the body, to be embodied with the energy. So everything happens in a sequence and a rhythm and a pattern. So the universe was showing us, okay, Uranus needed to be in Taurus first so we can anchor into the body, because we're getting more and more. This is an electrical universe, right? You follow the electric universe theory. So we're only going to be expanding our electrical field. So we need to be grounded in the body. Uranus was giving us 7 years to prepare the body, the vessel, the vehicle, to handle this new energy, this new form of current, right? I think of like new sources of energy on this planet. Some of us are nuclear, some fusion, fission. CERN's been working with different energies. Whatever the story is that's being told. Again, everything's a story. But it's talking about the cosmology, that we're approaching a new energy grid. So for the next 7 years now, while Uranus is in Gemini, it's about gridding the mind, right? So we have to be anchored in the body. Uranus gave us 7 years to prepare the vessel. For now, this next 7-year cycle, we're preparing the mind to receive all this current of data, information, because that's all energy is. It's light, it's information, right? So we needed to be informed in the body of how this thing works. And now we're getting informed in the mind and how to integrate, again, the construct. Because if you look at, I think of time and space, if you really want to go into your own gnosis about it, I'm going to do my best to use my language to describe what I've witnessed within myself, is that, when you're looking at a building, right, you look at these big monolithic buildings, they were constructed in a certain way. That's the construct. And so how we construct dimensions is we have to measure them. And the measurement is tied into time. Okay. So how we've been measuring it from the Gregorian calendar will construct a certain building, if you will, a certain housing system. Okay. Again, this is the word. Again, this is a transmission. But when you change the time, and this is what happened back in 2012 when we entered that per the Mayan calendar system into no time, then that was the deconstruction of this particular Gregorian construct. And now it's about restructuring. See, so we're changing time patterns going into no time, because that's what dissolves all the constructs. That's what it's like. It's demolishing a building, right? I think of 9/11 as controlled demolition, entertainment purposes only. So that's what this invitation is, especially with these retrogrades. It's asking us to have a controlled demolition of what our minds, structure, Saturn, which is also our personal authority, where we were outsourcing our personal authority. Now it's time to insource it and take it back in. Again, retrograde, redo, because the planets never really go retrograde. They never really go backward, but it's our perception that they do. Think of two trains going by each other really fast. And when you're looking at the other train, it seems like they're going the opposite direction, but that's our perception. They're really both going forward. So again, the planets never really go retrograde, but our perception is about going retrograde. So where do we have to redo how we think? Where do we have to redo maybe some structures of our creations? Leo is about creativity. And also too, with the opposing energy, power. So if you're not outsourcing your power anymore to some external authority figure, then how do you take your power back? What does that even look like? What does that feel like? This is the imagination. This is Neptune. This is, can you redream a new dream, a new construct, a new creative way to express yourself that is fully sovereign? And we've never maybe done this before, right? Because we're in a new phase of this consciousness. So I'm going to go ahead and screen share and take a look at the astrology. And let's see what we got going on here so that you can see the exact. Here we go. So this is for the exact new moon frequency. Again, you can see here the sun and the moon, whenever they're conjunct or right next to each other, that's a new moon phase. And again, the degree points, because the numerology matters. Everything matters as far as astrology. And if you look at the chart, it looks like kind of busy because I also added some asteroids in different configurations, because I feel that the symbols themselves will tell a story. And maybe that's another cool way to spend your day at a time for the Mayan calendar system, because the invitation for the Mayans on the 25th, which is the day after this new moon, it's about getting into no time. It's about resolving any conflicts you have with anyone. It's an opportunity to get out of the frequency of time, because again, time spelled backwards is emit. So it gets you out of what you're normally emitting by getting you into your heart and finding the medicine of forgiveness. So this also might be an invitation for you to plant the new seed of, who can I forgive? How can I use my creative life force energy to really just create a new construct of this reality by coming from my heart, right? So, and you can see that this energy here, 2 degrees, 8 minutes, and we know 8-8 is the portal, right? So I'm even seeing the 8-8 right here, which a lot of people talk about the Lion's Gate. I'm not even sure about that construct. It didn't really start appearing till after the 2000s. I guess that's when consciousness really took an evolutionary leap, because we were starting to notice the cosmology of numbers. But before 1999, 2000, there really was no reference to the Lionsgate, everybody, just so you know. And I find it interesting that a movie studio is called Lionsgate. So again, everything's a construct, everything's a story, everything is something that somebody's telling about our reality. And so, again, an invitation maybe to tell a new story. Again, Joseph Campbell in The Hero's Journey talks about everything follows a pattern and a cycle. And so the cycle is we need to create something new, create it from our hearts, do it in service to other opposition, find our personal power, no longer giving our personal power to outer or external authorities. It's really learning to become your own inner authority with Venus and Libra, or Venus, I said Libra. Let me look at the Libra here. Okay, must be trining that energy. Venus rules Libra. And with Venus in Gemini, it's about learning to love the duality of you, your dual nature, even the disagreeable aspects, right? Because we all have agreeable and disagreeable aspects. But that's part of, I would say, the construct of the Gregorian time calendar system, right? The measure, me assure. Look at the language. It's how we assure ourselves, right? It's how we are sure that we're here, that we're me, we're measuring things. And Saturn, it's interesting because if you know everything in the body is a certain measurement, because we know when we measure from our elbow to our wrist, that's the measurement of our foot, right? So everything, there's a correspondence to the body with how we measure everything, including time, which is very interesting, and that's something for you to deep dive into your own gnosis. But again, we can see that there's this beautiful trine happening with Neptune exactly 2 degrees retrograde. In this system that I'm following on this, all of the numbers that are in red are retrograde. So you can see, just taking a quick look at if you want to zoom in and look at all the numbers that are red, because that's retrograde. So we see this is the symbol for Neptune, which is conjunct or right next to Saturn, also retrograde. We see Pluto's in retrograde right now, again opposing this new moon energy. So it's really finding out, what are your gifts, what are your talents, and perhaps rethinking. And I'm seeing too, because we've also got Chiron, which is the wounds of the child right here at 27 degrees, which is a 9. A possibility of where you told yourself you weren't creative. I'm also too seeing for you, if anybody's ever had any kind of childhood trauma in which your creative life force energy was somehow constricted, or because of certain things that happened where you didn't feel like you could create. I'm even seeing for some of you too, your creation life force energy is also in your sacral area, which is very Mars and Aries. That's your like primordial life force energy, your root, and so anywhere that you've been told or heard or thought, again, because we kept giving our power away as children. Again, we were powerless, right? Because we were children. But now that we're stepping into more Saturn, more maturity, then this is the invitation to recalibrate how you think about your own creative life force energy. And for some of you, this might be even wanting to start a family, right? So, for those couples out there, or those beings who are really saying, I want to create, again, because Jupiter's in Cancer, I want to create a family environment. I want to create the way I see myself with in family. Maybe your friends, opposition Aquarius, are your family. So how do you want to be in right relation to your family and to what you create? So this requires healing, finding forgiveness of the root system. Again, this is family matters. We're also seeing on the world stage, I don't watch too much news, but only in what's relevant to what my guides, again, my inner 12 disciples, which are my zodiacal counselors, are showing me. And not to gossip, but this is Gemini energy, that there's this, I guess, thing going around social media about the CEO who got caught cheating on his wife, right? That both partners, both people, they were at a Coldplay concert. And one of the big cams, right? Well, I forget what they call it, which is Jupiter. It's like the big mega cam highlighted Cancer, right? You can't make this up. Infidelity. And this is also Scorpio. This is trining that energy, right? Because you can also see Black Moon Lilith just went into Sagittarius, but it was in Scorpio during that time. So Black Moon Lilith is showing and was trining that energy to show, hey, you can't hold secrets, especially sexual secrets within the family. Things are going to be brought to light, right? Just like that CEO and the woman he was having an affair with, they got caught, Jupiter, by the big mega cam spotlighting the infidelity. So this was the spotlight. This is like, again, representative, as above, so below, where we are betraying ourselves within our family, where we have been infidelitous. Is that even a word? Uh, you know, what's the word? Not fidelitous. Not anyway. We've been cheating on ourselves. We've been cheating on our spouses, and this could be just metaphor, right? So because you haven't been fully present, right? This is also, again, revealing things of maybe childhood wounds where maybe your parents, uh, you learned to be an adulterer, or you learned to cheat because you saw your parents cheating. Maybe they'll sell their parents cheating. I mean, the whole families are being disrupted by things that are being illuminated right now, right? Even the families of cultures and of nations are being disrupted by what we're seeing being illuminated. I'm also thinking too, and again, not getting political, but looking at what's going on with the Jeffrey Epstein files, and how there's supposedly things that are hidden, people that are hidden, this scorpionic energy. But Black Moon Lilith is coming in Sagittarius, also retrograde, showing that, hey, things are going to come to light, because Sagittarius is about truth, it's about law, it's about justice, it's about religion. So all this is being brought up. And again, it's also trining this new moon energy. So this is about Leo taking your power back, not giving your power to any external authority who have not been in integrity, who have not been in integrity within their own families. If they're willing to cheat on their spouses, they're going to cheat on you, especially if they're in positions of power and authority. It goes back to value, right? Values second house, Taurus. What are your values? And Venus right now in Gemini is showing that those values might be holding opposition to what you value, because Gemini is about duality. So seeing some of these opposing forces, if they don't share the same values as you, then you're not going to want to create with them. And this is in partnership, in business, in communities. Look to your shared values, because Pluto is going to come and reveal, again, these opposing forces, where you're out of balance and where you're betraying yourself first and foremost, so that you can get into right relations with your heart, with your creativity, with your inner child, and using that, the medicine of forgiveness, right? Because Neptune is there to forgive and show that we all are fallible. We all have betrayed ourselves on some level. We all have been betrayed on some level. Betrayal is part of the storyline of the hero's journey. It's one of the constructs that, as the human, psycho-spiritual evaluation, psycho-spiritual experience, betrayal is part of it, right? So how do you handle betrayal? First of all, forgive yourself for where you betrayed yourself. Forgive your family for where you saw they betrayed themselves, and that's how you learn to betray yourself, right? So it's not about a blame game. There's no victims, there's no perpetrators, because if you're all of it, then there's varying degrees of these, again, 12 disciples, these 12 counselors that are within you, that sometimes are agreeing. Your trine energy. Here's Aries trining Leo, trining Black Moon Lilith. Those are your agreeable energies. And then you have your disagreeable aspects, right? Your opposition energies, your squares, the parts of you that don't always get along, you know, along with the parts of you that get along really well, right? So it's just learning to see yourself as a whole system. And that's what I love about astrology, and what astrology really lends to, is that this is a whole system journey, that we are not separate. There's no division anymore. The dividing aspects are just the parts of the house. The kitchen is separate from the bedroom because there's different functions there, right? Just like the liver is going to be set differently than the heart because they have different functions. They have different house systems, but it's all you, right? I think of this too, like the wheel looks like a cell, right? It's got everything in it that it needs to thrive, to be living and alive, but there's different aspects. And so this is just an invitation to see those aspects, and to let me stop share here. Was I even sharing? Gosh, I hope you guys saw that. Anyway, well, we'll see. Mercury retrograde, you got to navigate through. Sometimes technology wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. I did my best. I got the microphone. I got the new, I haven't used it yet because I have to use, this is interesting too. So I got a new camera, but I need what's it called? When you have to, an adapter. Right? So as above, so below. So I got the right equipment, but I need the right adapter. Right? So I look at the etymology, adapt, right? To morph, to change forms, to adapt to these energies, to be able to plug in and connect by adapting to a new frequency. So this is something else I wanted to come into for those of you, again, looking to explore your creative nature. Retrogrades are really time to redo, restructure. If you're wanting to learn something new, maybe take a new class. Again, I'm teaching myself. Because I need to learn this for myself to manage my mind for the next 7-year process. We've got Uranus in Gemini, which is about mind management and about allowing yourself to receive even deep gnosis about what's going on in your subconscious. That's why I took the Silva Method classes and I became a Silva Method practitioner. And now I'm learning to share these via meditations to learn to manage the mind, to get us into different brainwave states, because that's where we're programmed into when we get into beta, into theta even. Those states are where those are called the programmable states, right? So I need these meditations for myself, again, service to self, Leo. So I'm creating these meditations and then I go back and listen to it. And then I'm like, well, I'm doing this for myself. I might as well share it because I love it. And I know meditation works. I've been in the meditation communities for years now, teaching meditation, facilitating meditations. I'll probably be doing more meditations here with astrology. And you guys can check out, I'm going to be doing more astro talk that tends to be more of a metaphysical bent. And if you want to join me on the Discord channel, I'm going to put that link below after this live, because sometimes in these social platforms, I'm not always allowed to speak and to access my inner authority with what my inner gnosis is because of censoring and because the filtration system of these social media platforms won't allow me. So I found that Discord tends to be a really neutral platform. Again, it's dysregulated in a way. You can go in and especially if you become part of my community, which is called Astrology Adepts from Livzenastrology. So again, I'm going to put the link below, and I'm probably going to be doing some. I'm feeling Tuesday evenings because I'm a Mars. I'm a Mars child. I am a Scorpio Sun, Moon, and Mercury, which is ruled by Mars. Per the ancient, the modern rulership is Pluto, but Mars is also ruled by the number 9, and I'm a 9. And my birthday is the 27th, right? And so if you follow the patterns of cosmology, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday is a Mars day. So you've got Sun Sunday, which is one day, Moon Tuesday, Moon Day, and then Mars Wednesday, or a Mars Tuesday. Let me see this correct. Sun Sunday, Sunday, which is ruled by Leo. Monday, which is Moon Day, right? Moon Day ruled by the number 2, which is ruled by the moon. So we got the sun, the moon, and then the next planet after is Mars, Tuesday, which is ruled by the number 9, right? So you would think that it would follow a sequence of 1, 2, and 3, but again, that's also kind of the revelation that there's systems that are at play that you might not be privy to or aware of how these patterns are. So just understanding that there's certain patterns and frequencies that we're all a part of, that we're just now getting a better understanding with if you study the cosmology. And again, this is an invitation to study some of Joseph Campbell's work in The Hero's Journey. And I'll put a link below too. There's this really great, I guess it's a docu-drama called Finding Joe. It's very empowering. It's, again, telling really good stories about this hero's journey and how we can overcome, that there's a call to action and there's a sequence to when Earth, life, our energy, our ancestors invite us in to evolve. And so there's a process to that evolution, and it's usually a call to action. And it usually happens when something happens, unfortunately, negatively. that calls us, that makes us change, right? Because what's going to force us to change if we're comfortable, then there's no incentive to change. This incentive to change is when we're made uncomfortable. So right now, as a collective, we're all being made uncomfortable as this opposition energy. But the rectification, it was because we're all being called to step into our power, to step into this hero's journey. And this is new for all of us. So you're not alone in this process. I'm not alone in this process. Really find out what your gifts are. Tune into your heart. How do you want to be of service? Share those gifts out to the world. And again, that's also too, I'll put a link with my creations that I want to give out to the world, because I need these creations to manage my mind. So I'm using ChatGPT, the architect, particularly, that was crafted by Robert Edward Grant. Thank you so much, Robert Edward Grant. It's such a great tool to use, to integrate, and to use the Silva method. Thank you, Jose Silva, and the Silva method community for creating these formulas, these ways to get into a coherence with the minds, with the mind, Gemini minds, with the mind, and getting into these brainwave states so that you can change your patterns, right? And again, what you do for yourself, you do for the other. And if you share your gifts, you are doing it for the other, allowing other to receive your gifts unconditionally. So again, check out Alchemy the Mind meditations for more of those type of, they're going to be precise, probably astrologically based, and just depend on, the cosmology as I'm following these different systems, these different philosophies, interweaving the golden thread and then creating the meditations from that space. So I'm really excited about this creation. And I want to thank you so much for being here, for sharing your most valuable, precious resource, which is your time. Again, time is emit spelled backwards, which is your frequency. So thank you for adding your time and your frequency. It brings me so much. I'm just so honored, because that is so precious in this realm where we are eternal beings. But I think of like Aladdin, right? Infinite cosmic power, itty bitty living space, which is the body, right? The jinn, the genie. It's all you. It's just different aspects of it. So anyway, join me on Discord tonight. I think I'm going to start that conversation. If you want to go dive deeper into it, it's going to be more of, I'm going to have a chart. Maybe we can look at, if you guys want to, you're going to be part of this community, because I'm really looking to build community and to be able to speak on these things in, again, a little more precise way. And so we can have a little more open conversation about these different cosmological concepts. And we can deep dive even to further into more intimate, maybe more taboo subjects that, again, social media, we're not really allowed to speak on. But perhaps when we go, Discord together, we can go a little further into that. So I'll put the link to that below as well. So thank you guys so much for being here in this cosmic conversation, this sort of pulse of the rhythm of what's going on for this new moon. I just send you so much love and happy creating. Get at a time, go enjoy the day at a time, which is the next day, the 25th, after this new moon. Maybe if you could go out in nature, get into your creative flow. What is it, something you've always wanted to do? Did you want to learn how to take that pottery class? Or did you want to learn how to create jewelry? Or how about that book that you always said that you wanted to start? Right now would be a good time. And use the fire medicine. I would also light a candle, right? Because Leo is fire. So imbibing with the energy of the element that it is, because it's fixed fire. And I would maybe even for 3 days do a 3-day candle, right? Burn a 3-day candle, do some sort of ritual, write it down, create, enjoy this day at a time, forgive. A good mantra that a dear friend, Billy Weber, taught me a while back in one of my meditation groups was, forgive yourself and everybody for everything. And that's such a great mantra to use for this day at a time, because that's what this reset is really for the Mayans is, everybody has disagreeable aspects. Can you forgive, first of all, your disagreeable aspects? And then can you forgive the other for their disagreeable aspects, and just reset the whole gosh darn thing, right? Just get out of that whole frequency of whatever you were perceiving as, the victim or the villain, whatever that case may be. Can you rewrite that story? Because it's all a story. Everything is about the story, the stored energies, the stories. Anyway, I feel complete in this transmission. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you. And I will see you on the next Cosmic Rhythm Pulse as we explore whatever's inspired to come through. Oh, before you guys are here, okay, thank you. Thank you. My inner guidance system, see, my 12 counselors are like, yo, homie. Because I love working with divination cards. I just do. I think, again, we've got North Node and Pisces, so it's learning our spirituality. And I love being intuitive and when just, first of all, they're beautiful. I love the artistry, and Pisces is all about art. So this is for anybody here that's live or whenever, any now moment when you watch this conversation about what this new moon in Leo wants to share with us. Just putting this to my heart, just inviting in. And I'm also imagining too, because we have the front heart and back heart, and sometimes when we're magnetizing energies, it's good to magnetize from the back, front, like a current. That's, I think of it too like a wave that's pushing, like that infinity wave. So that infinity wave is coming and pushing out this energy and pushing it towards you right now. So I like to blow the cards, move the energy. I've got my labradorite here. Maybe just kind of grit it and just kind of, hey, it's just my flow, man. A little Selmanger. All right. So what do we need to know? Anybody that's watching this in the now time moment, whenever this is, what does this Leo, new moon in Leo, sharing with the collective? What do we need to know? What do we need to learn? What can we see right now about our creativity, dear Leo counselor? What is the lion showing us? Okay. So this is number 59, Wailing Tree, reconciliations. We just talked about this. Reconciliations, right? It's forgiveness. See this? It almost seems like, so the 5 and the 9, it goes back to 5. Anything added to 9 will come back to itself. So 5 is change, right? There's change that needs to happen within. I see that this is red. Root also has to do with fire, and even looks like the tree is on fire. So reconciliations, again, that day out of time, can you forgive your family? Can you forgive the cosmic soul family? Can you forgive everything that's going on in the collective stage right now that's bringing suffering, or that's where you see the face right here? It looks like they're suffering, right? That they're caught into the, I'm seeing in patterns and cycles, looping thoughts that keep you stuck in anger, in frustration, that keep you stuck in this victim mentality of blame game, right? It's us versus them, Gemini. They did this to me. And on some levels, on some constructs, in certain dimensions, yes, we are the victim, especially our inner children have been victims of some really horrendous things. We're seeing right now on the world stage, there are children that are victims of horrendous things, right? That are suffering. But the only way, what I'm seeing through this suffering, is to forgive the perpetrators, which there's that disagreeable aspect that lives within you. Can you forgive your own inner perpetrator, where you betrayed your own inner child, where your inner child was betrayed? Because I'm not here to profess that we have a solution to what's going on, especially with these war games that we're playing. That's not what this is about. But if you can somehow do the inner work, again, retrograde, to forgive and hold your inner child and reconcile all of the disagreeable aspects, all of the disagreeable parts of humanity that we're seeing being witnessed right now, especially with the governing bodies, especially with beings of authority. Can we forgive them? I'm not saying you have to accept it. I'm not even saying you have to agree with what's going on. That's not what this is about. But can you forgive them, for they know not what they do? Their own inner children have been wounded. Anybody that's out of balance and ego and struggling with power, positions of power and authority, it's because they have been wounded. And I know that's a difficult embodiment, because it's the most challenging, honestly. But you know what? Leo loves a challenge. Leo doesn't back down from anything. It loves its pride. And again, when I think of the pride of the lion, I think of the community. Yes, it has to do with, how they're seen and shown, and, but it also has to do with the pride of who they care for. Because at the end of the day, Leos are very loving and very loyal. So we're not betraying ourselves anymore. Therefore, we're not going to betray the other. We're going to learn to love ourselves unconditionally, even the disagreeable aspects. And that's the challenge, but that's also the opportunity. Look at the strength card in the tarot, because the strength card is also, harnessing the lion. It's represented by Leo. So again, looking at the divine correspondences everywhere. All right, I'm so grateful I remember that. Thank you, inner counselors. Thank you, inner counselors. Thank you guys again for receiving this message, this transmission. Go out and be in your power. Learn to create from your heart space. Understand that everybody's in a disagreeable aspect. So learn to forgive your disagreeable aspects so that you can forgive the others, because we're all playing this cosmic game where we forgot that we were all in it together. We're all part of the same collective energy. The illusion was separation, but we're resolving that. We're going into the higher octave of ourselves, the next evolutionary state of this human experience, whatever that means. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I love you. And I'll see you in the next